Hello again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews, and this is the Narcissistic Resistance. And this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from April, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. Love the new channel name. Also love the idea of t-shirts or other swag to promote the channel. If you make shirts, I'll definitely buy one. It's probably too long to put on a shirt, but my favorite Ollieism is, you may not like it, but you better learn to love it. Or just something simple like the new name of the channel on a shirt would be cool too. It's funny, I thought about that same quote. And I have a video coming up. So I have an enormous video coming up, so it's probably going to come out of my mouth. Perhaps you could have the narcissistic resistance on the front of the shirt, and on the back it could read, "Are you serious?" That phrase is another one of my favorite Ollieisms. Or how about the narcissistic resistance on the front of the shirt in large font, and below that in smaller font, exposing narcissists since 2014 or something along those lines. Yeah, those are all good ideas. I like them. Unfortunately, I don't have artistic talent, but I'm happy to contribute in any way I can. I'm sure you'll get a bunch of people to help on the artistic front or with other services you need to grow the channel. I saw the video you did on how YouTube and Google are screwing you financially. Oh God, I'm now 3 months behind. That really sucks. I'm happy you're not letting that bullshit stop you. These narcs never learn. They push you. You push back harder. That's why you have so many followers. We're all so proud of you, Ollie, and what you do. You tell it like it is. I'm so excited to see where you take the channel next. Anyway, I have 2 questions to ask you today. If you decide you want to break these into separate videos or just do one, here we go. Question 1, do you think there is a link between obesity and narcissism? Yeah, absolutely. I look at obesity, and this isn't for everybody. Obesity, I look at it the same way I look at narcissistic fat people or narcissistic obese are the exact same person as your narcissistic hoarder. It is the same method of family control that the hoarder is doing, where it's all about them and their eating. And a while ago, me and Charlene used to watch like a bunch of those extreme obesity shows. One was Heavy, and then the other one was My 600-Pound Life. And you would see most of them, and I would have to say, most of the people on those shows are the narcissists. I've seen a few where they're married to what's known as feeders. There's one that I always talk about. This one woman, I think her name was like Aslan or something, and she had this Dutch husband. And I have this friend who says, he hates Dutch people every time. He's like, "I ever tell you I hate Dutch?" And that's like his line. "I ever tell you I hate Dutch people?" Well, I don't hate Dutch people, but that's like his thing. But she had this Dutch husband who did not want her to get the gastric bypass surgery. Okay? And on the way home from the surgery, he takes her to a fucking drive-through. And I'm not laughing. I'm laughing at what a fucking narcissistic dick this guy was. And he starts eating hamburgers and good and shoving it in her face because she can't. And this woman, to her credit, was serious about it. She wanted to lose the weight. And, this guy was just into fat women, overfeeding. And I think it was a control so he can feed them and not go anywhere. The other type is these people. "I don't know why I can't lose weight. It's not fair." And then they're crying and they're bullying the people they live with as they sit in these giant beds just being served food. And the problem is twofold. A, you got an enabler who may be the covert narc anyway. See, there's a lot of dynamics in the hoarding. Some people go for the pity in the enabler to control. Sometimes it's the person overeating that's doing it. And sometimes people overeat because they're just been abused. So you really have to study it and take it on a case-by-case basis, I think. This is kind of a sensitive topic, and I don't ask it in order to shame or judge people who struggle with obesity. I'm on a weight loss journey, down 35 pounds, another 65 to go, so I understand that weight problems are complicated. There are different reasons for obesity. I have hypothyroidism, so that is a contributing factor to my weight, but I also know that a lot of it is due to poor eating habits. What I'm talking about is not just being overweight. I'm talking about people who are so obese they are physically disabled and can't function without help, aka enablers. Yeah, we're on the same page here. So I watched this. I watched this show titled "My 600-Pound Life." I noticed when I watched the show that some of the people are abuse victims and people with a lot of emotional pain, and that's why they are in the condition they are in. They're using food to cope with emotional pain. I think many of us can understand that. Some of the people appear to really want to get help that is offered to help them lose weight and get healthy. Are you going to tell me the same story? However, sometimes when I watch it, I feel like some of the people really don't want to lose the weight and actually use their extreme obesity as a way to control people in their life. Absolutely, and that happens. And that's kind of what I was talking about. It's the same as hoarding. It's that hoarding control where you're bringing shit in. Same thing. It's like hoarding your body. You know. I've seen some of these people use guilt, fear, shame, and other manipulation tactics to get their enablers to help them cheat on their diet that the doctor has prescribed. And then they act all surprised at the weigh-in and just give excuses to the doctor or blame the doctor or the enablers. They take no responsibility. Sounds like narcissistic behavior to me. I think we're talking about the same woman here. And this, if you're talking about the same woman, this was a woman, dirty blonde hair, ponytail. She just sat in her living room, whining, feed me," and then she was saying, I'm gonna go to my son's," because she had a small kid. She wanted to be at his games or his graduation, making promises, and she was gaining weight, and then blaming, "Oh, must be the diet. I'm doing everything right," as she's shoveling chicken into her face. And they do. They take no responsibility. So you're right on with that. If they really don't want to lose the weight, because if they lose the weight, they lose control of their enablers, or they lose pity or whatever it is they get from being obese. I feel like such an unsympathetic asshole for writing this, but that's what I see sometimes when I watch that show. It made me think of those videos you did about the hoarders and how they're using hoarding to control people in their lives. Do you see any similarity? I'm not saying all obese people are controlling narcissists, but I feel like some of them are. Am I off base on this one? What are your thoughts on the subject? You got it. Obviously, you have it exactly right, and we've seen the same show, so don't feel guilty about it because most of them you have that exactly right. It's the same. It's the same as hoarding. It's exactly the same as hoarding. Question 2. Do you think there is a link between the practice of lunch shaming and narcissism in K through 12 public schools? I don't know if you're familiar with this issue, but I've been reading a lot of articles that discuss how in many school systems across the country, children who can't pay for a hot lunch are served a cheese sandwich or no sandwich at all. Some stories I've read are about teachers or cafeteria staff who have been fired for paying for a student's lunch. In some cases, the child was served a hot lunch only to have the lunch thrown in the trash because the child didn't have funds to pay for it. In one story I read, a man said that he recalls being one of the poor kids in schools who couldn't afford the hot lunch. He had to make a peanut butter sandwich at a special table in front of the other kids or not have any lunch. It was humiliating. To this day, he says he can't eat a peanut sandwich because it triggers him. If a kid's not getting a hot lunch at school, I would say 95% of the time it's because the parents are just a piece of shit. That doesn't mean you make the kids suffer. This is, again, what you're talking about is another level of societal narcissism, of that societal control in your school systems, okay? Teachers, they want to make it, it's like prison. I mean, they've turned schools into prisons. And it's about conditioning. It's not even about the child. It's about conditioning the parent that we are in charge. We'll throw your child's food away. It's about conditioning society to go along with these governmental authority figures. These stories absolutely enrage me, and I see it as child abuse. Why are the schools exposing children to grown-up problems? Because the children are just pawns. The children are pawns. They're exposing them so they understand that things can be taken away from them, and they fall in line. And so the parents understand you don't even have control over your own children. We do. We do. And again, I hate to bring this back to the pedophilia again, and then you couple that along with one of the teachers, okay, also gender's fluid and love is love. So if there's a 40-year-old teacher that has a thing for your 9-year-old, you got nothing to say about that either. All of this is societal narcissism. The thing with like the Hoarding shows and the Heavy show, the 600-Pound Life show, they're all meant for a pity party. They're all meant to guilt you into feeling bad for these people. Unfortunately, when you watch channels like mine and understand narcissism, you see right through it. And you see those giant red flags just flying like, this isn't right. Why do I? But I kind of feel bad. You're feeling bad because that's how you've been conditioned to feel. Okay, but because, April, you have watched channels like mine and you've been around and you're understanding your own abuse and you're understanding narcissism, you can spot it now in other places. And now you're seeing it as far down as K through 12 schools through school lunch programs as well. And again, it ties back. So they can take your kids' food and then finger pop them in the coat room. Do you see the societal control they're trying to take using gaslighting, narcissism, intimidation tactics? That's what this is all about. I understand every year the districts have to chase parents who either can't pay or won't pay, and it's a burden for them. Why are they involving the children? The children shouldn't have to be concerned about where the money is coming from to pay for the lunch. That's between the parents and the school. When districts are called out on these abusive practices, they just deflect and say they are only enforcing policy. But that is just such bullshit in my opinion. Any policy that involves shaming children because the parents failed to pay is bad policy and should be abolished. You're absolutely right. And here's the other question you're not asking. Why is a child paying for a lunch program when the parents or whoever is paying taxes to the school system? Could it be that the piece of shit teachers who are taking the lunches from them don't want to have to sacrifice on their paychecks and their health benefits? Why are we even talking this? And that's something I didn't even understand when I was in school, that they would make us pay for school lunch. Well, what the fuck were my parents' taxes paying for? All to the school, all to the salary of teachers and benefits of teachers. And meanwhile, as you're paying your property taxes, or you're paying your sales taxes, if you're buying anything, even if you don't own, you rent, if you buy anything from a business in the town where your child goes to school, that business is paying a portion of that money to taxes that goes to the school. So why the fuck does any child have to pay for a goddamn lunch? So the teachers can get paid for the rest of their lives and free benefits or whatever their benefit package is for the rest of their lives. Meanwhile, the parents who are already paying their salaries have to fork over more money to feed their children in school. And then have the school tell you, throw it out, tell you you're eating the wrong thing, what you could come in, what you can even send your child to eat. Who the fuck are you? We're already footing the whole bill for this operation. So what's this about? I'm pretty sure I've heard you mention in other videos that the K through 12 system is attractive to narcissists because of the power inherent in those positions. Do you think the lunch shaming practice is a tool for narcissists to help abuse children? Like I said, it's a greater picture. The districts that engage in the practice claim they have no other way to collect and overdue lunch accounts. Really? Really? Well, maybe if you didn't overpay your teachers, and maybe if you cut back on new sports uniforms and a fucking $1 million AstroTurf football field, and feed the children and educate them, maybe the money could come from there. The districts that engage in the practice claim they have no other way to collect on overdue lunch accounts. But it would seem to me that there are better ways of making sure that districts are not financially burdened when ensuring that children are fed without being shamed. Some states are beginning to use the legislative process to attempt to make the practice illegal. Some individuals with a soul have created GoFundMe accounts to collect donations to help clear overdue lunch balances so children won't be shamed. I don't know what the answer is, but there has to be a better way than this. Yeah, I just told you what it is. All I know is that the districts that engage in this abusive policy are permanently damaging the children, and it has to stop. What do you think about this issue? Do you think these policies are really intended as a tool to collect on overdue balances, or is this just another covert tactic by the narcissist to shame and abuse your children? Thanks for all you do. I look forward to your opinions. Sincerely, April. Sure, it's to shame and abuse your children, to get the parent off balance and be like, what are my taxes paying for to begin with? Why are my children even have to pay for a shitty lunch in a school cafeteria to begin with? It's absurd. And it's about a bigger picture. It's not necessarily about abusing the children, though it is. It's about bringing them to heel before they turn into their parents. And it's about telling the parents that you don't even have control over your own children. So don't even try. And the parents get so gaslighted, and society has been so gaslighted, they don't even stop to think, like, why am I even paying extra money for a school lunch? I'm funding the whole operation to begin with. So that's how that works. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story, April. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all your support and your suggestions. They're great. We'll see about putting some of those together. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave your opinions in the comment section below. Tell me what you think. And if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype chat, phone call, or have a private video made, or you'd like to sponsor a video for someone else, or just contribute to the channel, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. And if you're still unclear, wait for the final video link to pop up on this video, which will take you to my instructional video that'll walk you through all that. Please like this video and share it wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance, and I'll see you all again soon.